Hey guys, it's Sam and welcome back to the BulbaSquad. So today I'm going to be showing you the 3/4 scenarios that a sealed product can go through during its lifespan. Lifespan essentially just being investability, okay? Like just in print, out of rotation, going into pseudo vintage, vintage, okay? So we're going to cover it. There's a total of 3 main scenarios with 1 exception mixed into these scenarios. So, first, let's write on this pretty little whiteboard. Mind my terrible handwriting because I have absolutely dreadful handwriting. So, scenario 1. Also, while I'm doing this, don't forget I have a Discord link down below in the description and the comments if you want to join that. Okay, so back to this. Scenario 1. Scenario 1 is a perfectly average product, okay? So, I'm going to use 2 colors to mark it. So, black will be the price. Blue will be the intrinsic value, okay? Mind my bad handwriting again. So here we go. Whenever a set releases, usually we're looking for a completely stagnant price, if not a slight dip, okay? Why? Because as people get bored of the product, hype dies down, time passes, an average product isn't going to increase in price, and it'll usually decrease a little bit because hype goes elsewhere. It's harder to sell. It might go a little up toward after it goes out of print officially and starts running out, but this is what we're looking for an average product. Throughout that same lifespan, the intrinsic value typically just goes down. That's perfectly natural. More boxes are cracked, more singles on the market, so they just do this normally. And this situation, eventually, we will hit a point of inflection for this product where essentially, I'm actually just going to keep these uncapped, where it goes out of rotation. This product is now well beyond the point of reprinting or realistic reprinting, and we hit a point of inflection. Point of inflection means we now switch from being a loss of intrinsic value or a loss in box price, and we start increasing. So the point of inflection would then just be here. In which case it'll start giving you nice little returns. Hopefully we're looking about 8% is what I want from an average box, okay? These are nice because they're very much kind of like your stocks. You don't gotta worry about these. They'll just kind of keep taking care of themselves. 5 to 8%, that's the golden goose. All right, so that's the boring one. Next, we have Scenario 2. Scenario 2 is if the set is a hit from the beginning. We're talking Hidden Fates. We're talking something like Ultra Prism or Roaring Skies. Essentially, right out the gate, the box price just skyrockets. Goes well beyond that 110 expected price that stores give you, and the intrinsic value either holds or increases along with it. So, whenever this occurs, depending on how steep this line is, if we go from a total of 110 to, let's say, 120, and we use the rat system, we get, let's just say, out of print. We use the rat system, and we actually managed to get out of print, and it's very steady growth, nothing extreme, and all the other products around it are healthy, performing relatively the same, or not too much difference. The product should be fine. There's a good enough chance it's not going to get reprinted, especially the more product lines that come in. Remember, they like to focus on one, 2, 3, 4, and go down the list. I wrote that completely sideways. Whoops. Oh well. So as time passes, and so long as it has very steady growth, nothing insane, you might be able to get completely out of rotation, home free, and keep up with this very nice growth, okay? This has occurred in the past. We had things kind of like Flashfire where that didn't get reprinted even though that was one of the hypest sets of XY. So, I'll cover the exception at the end, don't worry. That one's the most important in my opinion. Scenario 3. Scenario 3 and the exception are going to be very similar. Scenario 3 is Crimson Invasion, Steam Siege. Any sets like that, or right out the gate, they fail. Right out the gate. The intrinsic value doesn't even start up here. It starts down here and just goes down. It is a set that is so bad, it kills card stores. And a set so bad, we break that glass ceiling, or that glass floor. We break that $72 distributor price. At this price, this is like the absolute lowest you can get booster boxes. I think it might be higher now, but this is the number. If you want to be a little more realistic, I guess we could go like $78. That'd be much closer. $78. We break that. No one can sell this for any profit. In this situation, a little paradox, not paradox, I don't know what the word is, okay? I'm just going to say paradox, I might be misusing it. We have a strange situation occur. Because this set is so bad, because no one has faith in the set, it is burning people, it is burying card stores, it is shutting them down, it actually potentially becomes investable. Why? If no one likes the set, and no one grades the cards, so GC graded cards, the population is just going to stay low. Right? It's going to stay low. No one's going to want to hold these boxes. So the amount of sealed investments, so SI, is going to go lower than normal. No one is going to reprint this set, so it's going to get out just fine. So reprint risk, so we're just going to make that RR, is low. Well, what then happens is if this entire set gets out, gets way past the point of reprinting, no one's holding it, the graded cards stay low. Now, a funny situation finally happens. Low supply, or low population for the graded cards. We get far enough out, 4 or 5 years, the raw cards that are out there are no longer going to be as well taken care of anymore. The 10s are going to be harder to get. And remember, typically, except for right now, Shiny Fates and Battle Styles, the quality of cards only increases. The further back you go, the worse the quality, the harder it is to grade them. Take a look at Plasma Storm with that Charizard that was impossible to get a 10 in. And so these will get harder to grade because no one has the sealed products. Anytime, let's say like we're at $78, it goes up to $82. People are going to start selling. $85, people are going to start selling. People are going to crack them. Why? It's fun. Kids will enjoy it. You want to play some Pokemon, I guess? Sure, you can crack a booster box, have some fun. Maybe even crack one open for laughs because it's such a terrible product. What then happens is the supply will get decimated, but the graded cards are going to slowly start increasing in price. They're going to start increasing. And someone's going to figure it out sooner or later. So, you know what's going to happen? Eventually, that intrinsic value, if we're still hovering around this $78 price point, the intrinsic value is very likely to actually exceed this price point. When this happens, arbitrage will occur. For those of you who don't know what arbitrage is, it's whenever you take one form of essentially an item, convert it, and then you can immediately profit off of it. In this case, it's taking sealed, converting it to singles, and being able to sell it for more. $78 box price, you could technically get $90, $100+ out of the booster box. Now what's going to occur? You're just going to rip and flip over and over again. And one of two things has to happen before this stops. Either you will rip and flip through the entire supply of the set, and there will be no booster boxes left in existence, or the box price is going to rectify itself, and the box price is going to have to go back up, and it's going to have to go higher than the intrinsic value in order to stop arbitrage. For those of you that don't know, this is why intrinsic value should never be higher than the box price. I'm going to explain intrinsic value later. I got it wrong on evolutions, okay? So, this is what will eventually happen. However, simultaneously, in the sealed investments, the sealed product, whatever, it went further down. All these people that are cracking, ripping and flipping, grading, whatever, even if the card prices actually come down because now the population's higher than the demand, you've already created an increase in the rarity of the product. So the price is going to be much more resilient to downwards pressure, especially when it was already subject to so much downwards pressure. And 5 years out, sentiments towards sets changing, towards set change. If we look at it right now, Steam Siege is $250. Roaring Skies is pushing $500. Ancient Origins is pushing $800. A bunch of XY sets are pushing very high dollar amounts. And XY historically wasn't that exciting. A lot of people from that time tell me they actually made fun of the sets or just didn't, there wasn't all that much hype, especially by comparison to now. And so, in this third scenario, it essentially proposes that if a product is a complete failure and breaks that artificial glass floor, it is the best time to invest. Because if people just keep having no faith in the product, you might end up with this situation. The graded cards appreciate, you rip cards, the boxes immediately start dying down. Eventually, intrinsic value dips, but box price is going to stay either here or either to remain stagnant or keep going up because now rarity is going to keep going. And people might keep chasing the cards. Who knows? Because people at this point, sentiments have changed. Just because it was a failure then doesn't mean you're going to keep feeling like that. And remember, so long as a hobby is healthy, the population of the hobby keeps growing. And if you came in after Steam Siege, after Crimson Invasion, you're not going to have these negative feelings toward them. You might look at them and go, hey, I like the Gardevoir in there. Hey, I like the Gyarados in there. And suddenly the feelings towards them start changing. Maybe a small demographic, but whenever there's not that many sealed investments out there, it really makes a difference. Now, scenario 3. Very similar. And I stuck this at the back. And I like to stick more important information to the back because typically Timmies will not watch back here. And I do not feel that Timmies who are just here to quickly click on and then click off really should deserve this information. Like me or hate me for that one. So, scenario 2, exception. So, scenario 2 exception, essentially. Set comes out, spikes like crazy, intrinsic value goes with it, and then, boom. Reprint, massive scale, destroys it. It doesn't matter, intrinsic value goes down with it, buries it. People hate it, people get burned by it. This would be Roaring Skies. No one wanted to hold it, no one wanted to keep it. Why? Again, shut down countless stores. People who were investing in it because it went straight to $300. Fantastic, incredible returns. It burned them. No one wanted this. People were bitter. They were angry. They were leaving the hobby. And so no one wanted it as a sealed investment. Yeah, there were already graded cards in the population. But at the end of the day, what happened is, because so few people wanted the set after being burned, it just kind of remained stagnant. The prices dipped. It broke that artificial glass floor of $78. Again, making that number up. It broke it. And what happened? Here's the interesting thing about these sets. There's a reason they get reprinted so much. Like Evolutions, perfect example. Evolutions did a very similar thing. It dipped into these price points. The reason Evolutions was printed so much and is considered the highest printed set ever is because people wanted it. People really loved the set. It brought back old collectors, it introduced new collectors to the old cards, and everyone loved it. It's why even when Evolutions was $100 a box, $98 a box, people were still buying and ripping it. I know so many people with binders, master sets of the set, people who just collect a bunch of random like Pikachus, reverse hollows from it, who like to get the flying Pikachu from it. Just stuff like that. The thing is, because the set is so popular from the get-go, all it becomes is essentially supply relativity. What I mean by that is supply is relative to the time in which in which you take the snapshot. Imagine we have this massive supply, like 10,000 booster boxes, whatever, and you got 3,000 people that needs to be distributed between. All right, time passes, 12,000 people, 7,000 booster boxes. Substantially changes, okay? That's the same idea here. Evolutions, Roaring Skies, Ancient Origins, Primal Clash, all of them. The supply was higher than the demand at the time, but the population of the hobby kept increasing. These things were already in demand, which is why they got the reprint to begin with. So all it did was essentially stagnate it for a while. And once it hit that floor, it just didn't move for a long time. But the love, the desire for the set, that was always the origin point. And because that's the origin point, it usually is going to recover back to that. Now, it might be slow, because it's always slower to recover back to the point you were than it is to get to the point in the first place. But one of two things I've noticed. Either you slowly recover to get back there, or the sealed supply out there is so low, the graded cards are so low, because Ancient Origins, take a look at the set. Like, legitimately, go take a look at it. Primal Kyogre, Primal Groudon, a bunch of Rayquazas. Fantastic set. People like those Pokemon. Graded population, ain't nothing. There's like nothing out there. You want to look at the 10s? Not even all my subscribers could have a 10 of any one of those cards. And look at how many subscribers I got. Or, the alternative is suddenly the product plays catch up and goes straight up. Think about how fast Roaring Skies has gotten to that $500 price point. I kid you not, I looked at that set back in, I believe it was November, and I saw it for $114, and I thought, huh, that's weird, it's going up. This is, like, I didn't know about it, I hadn't fully devised this yet. Alright, so, I wasn't a genius who saw that coming. This is just me learning from experience. So yeah, this is scenario 2 exception. A set extremely popular, reprinted into the ground, crashes, breaks the floor, and then eventually enough time passes, offsets the supply, the graded cards are nowhere near enough, and so it explodes, and either goes back to where it was before, or further beyond. Because, let's say, theoretically, Roaring Skies, $300 a booster box. So, that's where it was. You buy at the $78 dip. Alright, Roaring Skies does nothing, literally nothing, for 4 years. And then we go from 78 this is actually very inaccurate. It should be more like up here. So the $500 price point. What is that? That's you guys, anyone of you want to do the math for me? That's $322. No, $422. I'm not that smart, guys. Don't trust me. $422 after eBay fees, shipping. What you get to walk away with? Just not 380. Let's make it a little worse. 370. 370, just about. What? So over the span of 4 years, you make a 8, 16, 24, 32. About a 4.5 times multiple profit. Yeah. This is the long game, folks. Don't get fixated on short-term market noise. Okay? Yeah, there's sometimes it'll be rough, but don't get fixated on it. Roaring Skies is a perfect example of it. Let's say theoretically it retraces. That goes back to $300 a box. I mean, you're still, what would that be? 8, 16, 24, 32. So we're still looking at like 3.5 times your money over 4 years. Almost a 350, 200, 300% profit. That's insane. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me, what do you guys think about these paths, and how many of you actually made it this far? So thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.